Hello YouTubers, welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm your host, the Board Game Captain, and this is my first video of a new series I'm going to be having on my site called the Geek Culture Series. In this series we're going to discuss terminology used in gaming and geek culture, as well as discussing appearances of games and geek culture in movies, TV shows, books, what have you. It's going to be kind of a catch-all, fun sort of series. So for the first episode, we're going to discuss a term, and the term I'm going to discuss with you is rules lawyer. So you probably fall into one of two major categories with this. Either you're in category one where you say, Board Game Captain, I've heard the term rules lawyer, but I don't really understand it. I don't really know what it is, and I'm kind of embarrassed to ask. Well, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be able to explain that to you. Or you might fall into category two where you say to yourself, Board Game Captain, I've been playing board games since before you were born. And I was there at the first table when one person yelled, "You're a rules lawyer," at someone else on the other side of the table. Well, that's fine, but I may have some advice for you on how to deal with it when they show up to a casual gaming night. So, first of all, let's define what is a rules lawyer. A rules lawyer is someone who obsessively searches the rules of their favorite games or games that they know they're going to be playing for the sole purpose of finding loopholes that were never intended by the designers that they can exploit to win at all costs. Now, to be clear, there are places where being a rules lawyer is acceptable. In highly competitive play, especially amongst other people that are also themselves rules lawyers, it's not looked down upon to be a rules lawyer. In some tournaments, depending on the game, it's fine. People usually fully accept, and in some the cases of certain games, it almost encourages you to be a rules lawyer, depending on the game. But again, that's a competitive environment. Now, we're talking about what happens when a rules lawyer shows up to a light game environment, just a friendly environment where people are playing for fun and not playing cutthroat in whatever the game is. Now, another thing I want to address is that I've sometimes heard the term misused. I've often heard people call other people who are just very knowledgeable on the rules a rules lawyer, and this is not the case. Someone who is simply knowledgeable on the rules is what we used to refer to as a rules guru, or I've also heard them called a rules master. Now, a rules guru is someone who is very passionate about their games, studies the game rules, but the important distinction between a rules master or a rules guru and a rules lawyer is that the rules master will not search for those loopholes to win at all costs. They want to know the ins and outs of the games just for the sole purpose of knowing the ins and outs of the games. They want to be that person that you ask rather than look it up in the rule book. You say, hey, so-and-so, ooh, this is a head scratcher. What do I do in this situation? And they're the person who can tell you. Now, that aside, we now know what a rules lawyer is. So what do you do when a rules lawyer shows up to your just playing for fun game night where it's not too competitive and you're just having pizza and a couple of beers and trying to enjoy yourself? Well, the first thing you should always try is to talk to them. Sometimes people don't realize that they're being the wet blanket at the party, so to speak. It may be that the rules lawyer is someone who is very used to playing in a competitive play environment, perhaps at tournaments, where this sort of thing is normal, and it may not even occur to them that they're ruining the fun for other people at the group. So if you have a situation where you've invited a group of people over and one person is not meshing well, and this goes for any reason they're not meshing well with the vibe of the group, this not just being a rules lawyer, but they're not meshing well, the first thing you should always do is after the first get-togethers, take them aside and try to talk to them. Talk to them nicely, calmly, understandingly. Don't make accusations, and just explain to them that the way they're playing might be inhibiting the fun for other people at the group. They may not have even realized it. They may say, "Oh, I'm so used to playing at tournaments or in a competitive play environment with this game that it didn't even occur to me. You know what? I'm sorry. Next time I'm gonna really focus on not being competitive. And I've had that happen where you talk to someone and that's a nice, good, amicable situation. With those kind of people, you usually never or rarely have to bring it up to them again. Once it's been pointed out to them, they realize that they need to adjust their play level for the particular environment they're playing in. They do so. But sometimes you do get someone who is, as I call them, a terminal or chronic rules lawyer. Someone who, no matter what, either can't play in any other way or won't play in any other way. The won't is worse than the can't, because the won't means they won't even recognize that there's a problem. And with these people, if they don't mesh well with your group, eventually you may just have to ask them to leave. They may need to find a different group of people to play with who play more to their style, who are more cutthroat and competitive. And they may have a lot of fun in that situation. A lot of times it's really about finding the right group of people to sit around a table with and enjoy your games. So for me and my several groups of people that I play games with, we generally like to play for fun. Winning is a secondary concern. If you win, great, but we don't get too crazy competitive. And there are no currently rules lawyers in my group. Again, I don't like to play the super competitive and tournament scenes for that reason, because I know that is where they are accepted, and I'm not a fan of playing very cutthroat anymore. I used to when I was younger. I used to play a lot of tournaments for certain games, but now I'm more in just the social aspect. I like to have people around the table, have some pizza, have some snacks, and have a few beers. So that's it. So why don't you write some comments down below. You can tell me what you think I was right on, what you think I was wrong on. If you yourself are someone who plays in a super competitive environment and you don't like this video at all, you can tell me I'm a big jerk face. Whatever you want to put down there is fine by me. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you next time. And until next time, game on.